Hello again, it's time for another thought, and I'm really grateful today to Bishop Mike Harrison, one of the bishops in our local diocese, who sent us a thought, and I'm sure you're going to find this really helpful today.
Augustine said, "He who sings prays twice," by which I assume he meant that we utter the words and we sing the melody, and so we are effectively praying twice. And this emphasis on singing as a part of our prayer and worship is found consistently through the scriptures. And St. Paul, of course, in Colossians and Ephesians, mentions how we are to offer psalms and hymns and spiritual songs to God. So we may think that our offering of singing is not quite as significant or profound a version of prayer as our speech, whether that speech is confession or thanksgiving or adoration. But actually, it's a way in which we can offer emotions and evoke depths that in other ways we simply don't do. What's more, singing may be more foundational to who we are than we have previously thought. Stephen Mithin, in his book on the singing Neanderthal, points out that our ancient uncles and aunts were well capable from their physiology of singing. And indeed analysis of their skulls, of their cavities, of the formations of their throats and necks and mouths actually suggest that they sang before they spoke, so that singing was more primordial than speaking. That rather reverses our understanding of singing as being something of a luxury that we added onto our speech when we were in need of some entertainment. No, in fact, singing could be more primordial, more foundational, deeper in our bones than speaking, in which case, how appropriate to offer it to God as a part of our prayer and a part of our worship. And of course, singing can reach the parts that other versions of prayer cannot reach. It enables, as does music more widely, to reconfigure our experience of space and time, enables us to change our mood and to offer our mood up to God as we sing. The fact that singing and music more widely can have such a transformative effect on us has not been lost, for instance, by the military, who often utilise singing to enable soldiers to go through route marches or other boring activities with a mind that thinks that they're doing them more quickly than they otherwise are because of their singing, or indeed evoking them to courage and bravery through singing. Who can forget in the film Zulu, when thousands of Zulus are descending on Rorke's Drift, the captain instructs his men to sing Men of Harlech, and they find new zeal and new heart in the face of impossible odds. More prosaically, our singing can evoke offerings of gladness or grief or gratitude to God. So let me just give you 3 ways in which singing as prayer might be helpful to us. First of all, in our offering of praise, in our giving worth, in our worshipping. I know that we sing regularly in church, but what about trying, as part of our prayer life, to sing when we are driving on our own, when we are walking, or even under our breath? I know that it means learning the lyrics, but once you've got the melody, that's pretty easy. And as we sing as we pray, it means that we can offer our emotions, offer our memories, offer our hearts and minds up to God to be transformed by God in and through our prayer. It can be good for our worship. Secondly, our singing can be good for us. Like so much of prayer, we begin by thinking this is our gift to God, but in fact, it turns out that this is a gift from God to us, to help us to grow, and which is good for us. And we know that singing is good for us. It releases chemicals that enable us to feel happy. It's good for our lung health. It burns calories. It's good for our mental health. And in a whole host of other ways, it is good for us. So good for our worship, good for us, and also good for our discipleship. Some of the lyrics of hymns can actually help us in our understanding of the faith and our conviction about the faith. Take that gospel song, I'll Fly Away. One glad morning when this life is over, I'll fly away. That's how it goes. But when you stop and think about those words, one glad morning, it's a total reframing of death, not as the worst and terrible thing that can happen to us, but as the portal to a more wondrous existence. And of course, that's entirely orthodox in terms of scriptural understanding. Doesn't Paul say, "For me to live is Christ, and to die is gain," and that he wishes to depart and be with Christ? As those who are living the resurrection life, we understand that our horizon goes way beyond our physical death, and the singing of that particular song enables us to grasp it holistically and not merely intellectually and occasionally. In other ways, the lyrics of hymns can enable us to shape our faith, which is why, by the way, we need to be pretty careful about which songs and hymns we are utilising. So 3 ways in which singing as praying can be beneficial. It's good for our worship, it's good for us, and it's good for our discipleship. But despite all of this, you may turn around and say, yeah, but I just can't sing. I just can't sing. Well, I would remind you of what Luther once said. He said that the curses of godless men can sound sweeter in God's ears than the hallelujahs of the pious. Analogously then, perhaps it is that the songs of tone-deaf individuals can sound sweeter in God's ears than the pitch-perfect melodies of celebrities. Let God be the judge, not Simon Cowell.